Hey guys, it's Tristan here, and surprise, surprise, I'm the new host for Control Breakers this week because Armin has some business to do on the CBC side, so
Woo!
I'm your host for here, and with me today is Joe.
Woo, go Tristan! Wait, who was that? That's cute.
I don't know, I didn't think we would have a live audience or audience member.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just the mechanic down the street. I always tell Mitch, but like literally Mexican neighborhood where there's just a mechanic shop in a house.
Hey, you don't have to tell me because I think it was was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Some neighbors, I think like 2 doors down, had a party.
Damn.
Yeah. And not just, some house party. I mean, house party where the music is bumping and you just hear Mexican music coming out from the speakers all the way down from the street.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah. But, you can catch me at the Control Breakers Twitter at Control Breakers, and you can get Joe at Halftime Joe.
Yep.
If that's correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if you want the main, the podcast for, comic book casting is at Comic Book Cast 2.
It's just youtube.com/comicbookcasting. But you just Google comic book cast and you find everything we do.
Yeah, then you have the Facebook page. Kind of find Comic Book Cast on Facebook if you want to. We also have the Facebook group that should have a pinned link to the group. I don't know do we still have it there?
Probably not, because the thing is, like, what's pinned on Twitter and Facebook is the Discord. So if anybody's looking for the Discord, just go on Facebook or Twitter / whatever, twitter.com, facebook.com/comicbookcast, and you'll find it. Yeah. Yeah,
then we have the Discord. I'm usually on there if you have some trouble or you want some things questioned. I know Joe's on there sometimes, and Mitch will time in sometimes too. We have a bunch of subsections from video games to comics to just talking about just shooting the shit. And do we have anything else? Like, do we have anything is Mitch working on any new shirts or?
Nope, not at the moment. But I just want to say, of course, patreon.com/comicbookcast, which for Armin remembers, which this is how he remembers by listening back. But every month we'll get whoever pledges $1 or more or whatever, any kind of money. Your name will be shown on the videos for the 5 shows that we have as like producer credits. So that's just out there. And we have a bunch of other cool stuff.
And then I don't know if we're gonna have like other things. We're probably especially I've been thinking about it for Control Breakers. I may start a simple contest every other month.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Every other month I'll probably go over with Joe later about the contents and stuff, but just keep a lookout for that.
That's behind the scenes. Y'all ain't allowed that yet. You ain't allowed that.
Yeah.
We're teasing. Yeah. But real quick before we start, just of course, once again, patreon.com/comicbookcast. Usually, if you just Google us, find everything you need. So we're ready to get the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first topic here, for me anyway, is kind of a head scratcher. I don't know if Joe, because I don't know if you wanted a Switch or we're thinking about getting a Switch. But what Nintendo has done is partnered with SanDisk to make official Switch SD cards. And whether you like that or not, that just depends on you. But some third-party devs have gone on what's on the record stating that some of the bigger game file games will require a SD card to play, even if you have a physical copy of the game. You can play a portion of it, but not the full game without the allotted memory from the SD card inserted into the Switch. So you may want to get a bigger allotted SD card instead of 32 or 64 gigs.
I for one, am looking to get a Switch very soon, mostly because, of course, there's games I'm going to want to play. Of course, I still want to play Breath of the Wild, Pokken Tournament, but of course, the main thing attracting me, similar to Mitch, the Pokemon game, the mainline Pokemon game that's going to be coming out in 3 years, probably.
Yeah, that's what everyone wants. It's that main one. And for what it is, for people who were either on both sides, for and against the Switch, that's what they want. And what they also want is a serviceable amount of storage for their data or their games, not 32 out of the box. Most people thought it would have been either 64 or 128 gigs at the most for, the internal storage for the Switch. But since they are trying to help people out with their storage woes, because it's more so for the people who go digital only, because 32, 64 can go just like that for,
sure.
digital downloads along with DLC and the save files.
A terabyte for the consoles can go just like that, really.
Yeah. And that's the thing when people were saying, well, why don't you get a terabyte of memory for an SD card or two? Because they support the two.
Yeah.
The thing about that is the companies that make the SD cards, they're not in full supply and they're not for consumers yet. And you can get one if you have about $400 or $500. So I don't know if you'd want to pay $400, $500 for a terabyte of an SD card.
I think it's just safe to say that Nintendo, beside like everything else around with the Switch, like whether it be the memory or the voice chat, everything, is that really that well done as opposed to what like the Switch was good.
Yeah.
The Switch is good at what it does everything, but the voice chat, the memory, everything around it, Nintendo needs to fix that a bit.
Yeah, it's because they're basically starting like it was 2005 for other console makers, because Microsoft and Sony had about 10, 11 years to get it serviceable. Working correctly is questionable, but serviceable should be the right word, because they had about 11 years to get it correct and what people want and expect out of the service. Because you also forget that I think beginning of next year, Nintendo will be charging for multiplayer and some other services, and the service, whether it's cheap, I think it's like $20 for a year, to be charging $20 for a year and your online services aren't up to par to the competition. People wonder why are you charging them be it $20 for a service that might not work all that well or not have all the services like internet. You can't really surf the internet with the Switch.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, you can't do it out the box.
You have a Switch though, right?
I have a Switch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And doesn't I don't think it has Netflix on it or any other.
That is something I remember hearing that Netflix wasn't initially on it.
Yeah, and there's just a slew of other minor things that other competition can do that the Switch can, if that's your only option, because you only like Nintendo IPs and you wish that other third-party development teams would bring their stuff over there. I mean, that's all fine and good, but they need to learn what their customers want and not what they want to hear.
I mean, I still the one like once I knew, I was like, all right, everything around Nintendo trying to do around the Switch isn't good, is when you told me that the voice chat thing, if your phone goes on sleep, like it turns off. You can't voice chat anymore.
Yeah, it goes. It's a couple things. If it goes to idle, when the screen turns off, it cuts off, and you need to go back into the app. And
it's so dumb.
Yeah, and if you have it, then you got to cut off text messages and make sure you don't text anybody or have emails, because it will shut it off too right there and then. And it doesn't. The reason for that is because for some reason it doesn't. You can't have it going on in the background. So you can have how most apps you can have Spotify going on while you're surfing the net or on Facebook. Yeah, for some reason Nintendo didn't think that through, and it needs to be the only app that's active at the time.
Damn. So, I mean, I don't think there's much else to say about this, but other than the fact that Nintendo just needs to really fix around the online service, and I mean, either they didn't realize people actually use digital games or something, which you think they would know people use digital games. Yeah,
it's for people who don't want to juggle carts anymore, but now it's kind of mandatory if you don't want to spend the extra money to get bigger file SD cards, because you can get them on sale. I mean, because I think 32 is anywhere between on Amazon is anywhere between $25, $30, and a 64 gigs is 40 something to about 50, and then it just stacks little by little. But to get 200 gigs, 500 gigs, a terabyte that people said that you need, or two, that one's not really feasible for a mom or a dad getting that type for their son or daughter, because they won't really justify the file space for $400, $500.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who, who's into gaming or has parents or a relative that's into gaming could maybe justify the price. Maybe, but if it was like, $100, $200, then it's more, you could bite the bullet more often than, $400 or $500 for file size. Yeah, but that's just Nintendo, and them going a different route than the competitors because they want to be different.
Yeah, but I like to say different is sometimes good, but sometimes you can go too different, and it's like
it's a good and a bad thing. There's a good difference where it's good to be different, you have a different experience, but too different is where you're trying to be you're trying to be really different from not just the experience of the games, but how online is, to how you save your games, to how you even download games, because it also, there's also a thing where it cuts in because some people have data caps.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah, you don't take that into account either. Yeah. But that's for another story. Right. I know the next topic would be Destiny 2 because it releases in a couple of days. I don't know why they would do it on a Wednesday, but
yeah, which is weird. Real quick, can I just say games usually, if I remember correctly, Tuesdays, right? At least the last couple years I remember.
Yeah, it was the game that actually made that popular was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or 1, I believe, where games would come out originally on Tuesday in the Americas.
Yep.
In the UK, they come out on Fridays, I think, I believe, if I'm correct.
But it's weird, and I just noticed this where, Destiny is coming out Wednesday, right, for the North Americas.
Yeah.
And then when I went to go get Madden, they said that the, standard edition of Madden 18 came out on a Friday. Yeah. And I was like, so you have to buy the deluxe edition to play it on that Tuesday. So it was so weird to me. When did all these changes happen? I didn't even notice.
With some of the games, especially the Madden, they're on a times table when they should release.
Yeah.
And sometimes when that release falls in between the months that have 31 or 30 days, and they're trying to fit it into a slot, so it doesn't get sandwiched in between other AAA games or first party games, so they can maximize the profit margin that they can get. They will release the game at a weird time, either be it on a Wednesday, a Thursday, or a Friday to get the maximum value of sales. And it just so happens that now they're doing it because a lot of they don't 2K doesn't want to interfere with Destiny. So.
Oh, that is true.
See, because they don't want to go head to head, so they released theirs at a different time. I thought Bungie was just being different because 7. They have Bungie Day. But obviously it's not that isn't the case, because originally it was going to be Friday, but they moved it back to Wednesday because I think 2K was it 2K18 for NBA comes out was the week after or
the week after.
Yeah, so I guess they had that weird time that each of the game franchises didn't want to be sandwiched in between each other and go head to head. So we have this weird timetable of you can get this early because you can get this early if you pre-order the deluxe edition, because we're not going to tell you that we have to go head to head with Destiny 2 or 2K NBA because we want to maximize our profits from each of our franchises.
Exactly. But getting into, I guess, more of the Destiny news, you said leaks and all this stuff came out. I don't know. There's so much.
With the leaks stuff, for some reason, I think it was at a GameStop that they got early I don't know why people still buy them, but they got in the guidebooks for Destiny 2, and the person leaked it on Reddit, went through some of the stuff, and there's I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I think there was confirmed around a little less than Destiny 1 missions in parentheses, because there's a citation to what counts as a story mission or a main mission. But I think they had around 50 for Destiny 2, and I think Destiny 1 had around 60. With the parentheses around main missions, they're not adding in the other missions and side missions and hidden missions that they have that followed with the Taken King expansion pack, where they made extra missions, timed missions to get like extra weapons and extra lore strikes to learn more about the world and of Destiny and all that. And then another slew of leads came on that they gave a list of all the exotic weapons and armor that you can get right now from day one in the game. And then they had, I think it was PlayStation Network accidentally leaked some of the upcoming like games and DLC that you can get with the following months. I think like the first DLC expansion pack was included in that. And then just now, recently, we had Destiny 2, or Bungie confirmed that cosmetic microtransactions are going to be back in Destiny 2. And just like the first, they're completely cosmetic. You don't have to get them if you don't want to.
I've always wondered. I'm curious as to how do you feel about microtransactions per se. I know there is like this stigma.
Yeah,
that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a little worrisome on the side that doesn't want them. But for what some are doing is they're putting in cosmetic DLC that you can buy that just adds something to your character, be it, have flames on it, or it starts to sparkle, or you have special gear that does not help you anyway whatsoever, just to look different, or you have an emote that's different from all the rest of them just to be original.
You don't need it in this.
Yeah, you don't really need it because it doesn't impact. Yeah, it doesn't impact on your gameplay or experiences with the game. It's just there to be there if you just want your character to be different. Me personally, I'm indifferent because if it doesn't affect gameplay, like you'll get extra damage or extra loot drops or anything like that, I don't really care because I really don't bother with it unless it's like something like. There's something that's really cool that that's cosmetic that I want. I'll maybe try it once or twice, but after that I won't try it again because if they have it like they used to with the loot system where it was just a crapshoot, then I won't really bother. But people who really want that stuff, they'll get it. I mean, they'll get it sooner or later. Even if they have to drop $50 to get that certain item, they will get it. I've seen people do that.
People drop loads of money, and this is I don't know exactly which game started microtransactions per se, but microtransactions are pretty big in the sports games. So people drop thousands of dollars for packs.
I know that. I've seen some of the streams where they'll spend like $100, $200 on packs or loot boxes, anything to get that skin or that player that they want really, really badly.
Crazy, man, but at the same time it just kind of speeds up the process. Other than that, it will just kind of there's the grinding mode of it. That's
the part that people don't like, is where it helps out the person that pays to play than the person that would rather gain that experience by actually playing the game and learning how the mechanics of the game work than a person who pays $20 and gets a couple boosters for 3 or 4 hours of double XP. Yeah. And you'll get the stuff sooner than the person who doesn't buy into the microtransactions and takes about 6 maybe 8 hours to get to where the person who paid in 4 hours.
Yeah, I can see
that's where the unfairness comes. Where
I can see it.
Yeah, the unfairness comes where the person who paid can probably, depending on how good they are, can probably outplay the person who wanted to play fairly with all the other players who didn't want to pay in the first place.
Well, one thing I would say is, if you're good, you're good. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily need all the high things. If you're just good, you're good.
I know. That's why I said it depending on the player's skill, because you can get all the shit you want and be a shit player.
Exactly.
But that's where I stand. It's neutral, so it doesn't impact in gaming. Like I have to get it to pass a certain section or a level. Then I don't really care. You can do whatever the hell you want. It's your money.
Well, it's funny though that kind of Destiny 2 released that they had microtransactions very 2 days before, very secretly as well. I feel like.
Yeah. It's because I think they're doing it now because when people get into the game, because it's a midnight release, or if you're on the West Coast like me, it's 9 p.m. So as soon as they boot up and go into the home space and they see Transverse Company, if they're still there, you go there and you see that there's the pre-order emotes that are there, and you can buy them for 300 silver. Then if they didn't say anything, people would, raise some shit up on Reddit and Twitter saying, you guys said there was no transactions. Why the fuck are there transactions in this game? And, like I said, it's completely optional. You don't have to buy it. It doesn't impact, gameplay whatsoever. So I don't know why you're bitching.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like you need it. Tristan said that too. So
yeah.
I'd say just don't pay attention to it. And if you see people with that, just like wreck them and teabag them because they spent money you didn't and you better. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. But the next topic we got, what are you feeling? You want to talk a little bit about Pokemon, or do you want to go into some keyboard and mouse wars?
Let's go the keyboard and mouse with Xbox One, because that's fairly newish compared to all the
Okay.
others.
Well, at PAX West, which sadly I can't really go to because I thought it was like somewhere in California, but it's in Seattle. They had a Q&A session with Microsoft and some of their fans, and they asked, is the keyboard and mouse compatibility function still happening? And apparently it is, but it's going to be up to the development teams to see whether or not they're actually going to implement keyboard and mouse control into games, or to games general, or more so to the first-person genre, competitive multiplayer sections at least.
PUBG, Halo, Call of Duty type stuff.
That's why I say it's coming soon, but ultimately it's going to be up to the development teams if they want to implement keyboard and mouse. The reason why I think Microsoft is still hesitant to actually make it mandatory is because not a lot of people on the console scene play with keyboard and mouse. If they want to play keyboard and mouse, they would go onto the PC and do it. It would also, yeah. Oh, go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, I'll be the first one to say I prefer controller. I know keyboard and mouse is technically better, like faster and all the more makes you is a better suited for the competitive.
You're more precise with keyboard and mouse.
Yeah. But maybe it's the years, decades. I'm used to controllers. Yeah. I'm so used to it. Like I was playing PUBG with an Xbox controller, even though I shouldn't play with the mouse and keyboard.
I'll get into that. But what it is that they're hesitant because people who are proficient and they play keyboard and mouse for a really long time, they'll be right at home, there and then, so they'll be at an advantage over a person who plays a console with just a controller, because they for more or less don't really play with other players who are playing with keyboard and mouse, so they don't know the strategy or how fast a player who uses keyboard and mouse can shoot dead on consistently most of the time. So it's a little unfair to them. But if you're a person who plays on PC and console, and you can relatively get used to how a person on a controller plays at like first-person shooters or third-person shooters to a person on PC who plays controller or a keyboard and mouse, then you're gonna have an easier time depending on what you're comfortable with. Because just like with microtransactions and anything in general, the tool is only as good as the operator.
Yep.
So whether or not you could be a shit person playing with the keyboard and mouse, but as soon as you get a controller in your hands, even playing on PC, you could be beating other people with keyboard and mouses. So it's just how a player is actually skill-wise good. So if you're good on PC with a console controller, then it wouldn't really matter to you. But if you have to have that controller and mouse even for console because it feels better for you, it's just opinion of the player. For most of the time. Me, I can play PC and mouse or console or, controller, but I usually play with controller most of the time. Because I can adapt more or less to what people are playing with, whether it be a keyboard and mouse or a controller. Yeah. That's what it just comes down to. So.
I mean, it is, like you said, just comes to the developers, and we'll see, because, one thing, especially coming from PlayStation, like, where they have the touchpad, and that doesn't seem like a lot of developers actually incorporate that. I don't know if it'll be the same way where this here on Xbox, not a lot of developers will incorporate to the best of use for mouse and keyboard. It just seems like they're like, oh, why are we going to do it? The controller is all you need. But no, this actually can make better gameplay.
Yeah, because that's why it's kind of hard for them to justify having a keyboard and mouse option on most of the games, because with a console, they know that everyone that gets one will have the same, control layout. Everyone's going to have a controller. Yeah. And they don't have to worry too much about, the vast minority of keyboard and mouse players, what's odds, like 2% of them. They don't have to worry about the 2% that like to play with keyboard and mouse, waiting for them to make sure that, it has keyboard and mouse support, when 98% of them are going to be playing controllers anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And mine, I don't really care. I know people will be up in arms about it. But just play to your strengths. If you play on console with a controller and you can beat almost about anybody there, then go ahead. If you like playing it with a keyboard and mouse, then go ahead. I'll just give this little note for people who think that, oh no, keyboard and mouse is the only thing you need. Well, I'm not sure, but it may have been one of the major fighting tournaments where the champion won with an OG PlayStation controller. Well, everyone else, half of the other competitors were using like oversized, not joysticks. So, they can only use arcade sticks for fighters, and someone beat most of them with just an OG PlayStation controller. Didn't have any of the analog controls or whatsoever. It was just, a directional pad, triangle, circle, X, square, the two triggers. That was it. Mm-hmm. So it's all about the skill of the player at the end of the day.
Yep.
And then the other thing here, I don't know. Do you still play Pokemon Go or?
Yeah. Sometimes it's still on my phone, and sometimes I'll accidentally click on it. I'm like, all right, let's see.
It's just for me. I played it for a little bit, but after a while, it was too fucking hot.
Bro, when that first month.
Yeah.
Downtown at 2 a.m. with like hundreds of other people. Like that's me and my friends. Like that's how it was. It really was for like weeks straight, just downtown at 2 a.m. Sometimes you'd even be at that point where drunk people were out and about and trying to start fights. And I don't think you could catch them in Pokemon Go, but it was it was a crazy thing. I loved it, but I think it's there's faults to it that I think inevitably just didn't have enough to keep people.
Faults are more or less what I think was the company Niantic. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, where they kept redesigning how to play constantly with the updates. Where if something didn't work, instead of fixing it, they'd change how to play and make it a little bit harder than it was before. Then after a while, it wasn't as fun to play it anymore because I think you would constantly have to, find the time, like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of consistent play to actually get some enjoyment out of it. Yeah. Especially when they didn't announce, one of the legendaries is going to come. Are they going to come at all? And it took about almost a year for the first wave of legendary fights and raids to actually appear. And here, when they added the 3 legendary dogs or beasts, whichever ones you want to call them, that they're going to be exclusive to each territory for 1 month before you can catch them in your other territory. So each territory will get one of the legendaries that you can battle in raids. Because Raikou will have the Americas from August 31st to September 30th.
Yep.
I think it was Europe and Africa will get Entei at the same time, and Suicune will be the Asias and the Pacific, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Then after that time frame, the two that you couldn't catch will be released into your territories.
I mean, I don't know why North America gets the worst one. Like, why do we get Raikou like that?
I don't know. I think it has to do with him being a thunder and lightning base, because that's the only thing I can think of was with like the Native Americans and the Thunderbird. That's the only thing I could see any correlation with the Pokemon in the Americas. I mean, Suicune I can get for like Asia, but I don't know about Africa and Europe.
Entei could just be hot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be that. I don't know, but yeah. If you still play Pokemon Go, you can get your legendary one of them anyway for the next month, depending on your region. If you still play, because some people still play.
If you're playing Pokemon Go, why aren't you playing like Pokemon on the DS? You know what I mean? Like,
it's for, I think it's for people, for casuals, and for people who got out of it because I think I stated it in a past podcast where for that last year, Pokemon games were on the rise for some people for no apparent reason. But when they found out, it got some of the people who got out of Pokemon years before, they got back into it and wanted to play the games over again. Then like on eBay and GameStop and every used game store, Pokemon games got a bump in price across the map, where like even the DS games of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, they were getting over to $100, $120 just for the cart for that year. Because usually they were around $45, $50 for that cart, and it doubled in price.
Yeah, I mean, this is just what's happening for Pokemon Go. I don't know, maybe it might be too far along that I've been away for me to catch back in, and sometimes that sucks, right? When you stay away from a game and it's hard to catch up, you're like, you have no incentive to go back because it's so hard to catch up.
Yes, it's so hard. It's hard to catch up, and when you get renditions of how to actually play the game again, it turns people off, because after a while people were kind of cheating because it was kind of hard to figure out where the hell exactly a specific Pokemon was on the map, and like you'll go in one direction for about 20 minutes and you never run into it.
Yeah, I gotta say, one of my favorite parts was the fact that people would travel to different places for Pokemon for the game, and like they would of course put it on YouTube or whatever, like some of these bigger YouTubers who created accounts based on Pokemon Go, or
they're still going.
Just play it. I always loved that part where some would actually like go to Canada or maybe to Europe just to catch certain Pokemon, like legit, like that. That was a cool aspect of it. Of course, for those people who have actual money like that to spend, but it's just it happened. Like a lot of people would just quit, and I don't know if they'll necessarily be able to get everybody back unless they're able to do Pokemon Go Fest, but everywhere and make it work well.
Yeah. That's what most people said. You get more people back if you can fix what was wrong with it by, having a little bit more leeway to catching Pokemon and having more like, Pokestops in rural areas, because for people who live in those areas, it's hard for them to play because, to get the Pokestops or to get the gym battles in areas, they have to like drive like 20, 30 miles to the nearest like town or city that has it. And he goes, well, I'm not going to, some people say, that's unfeasible for me because I'm not paying gas just to go play, I guess, would it be called a freemium game or pay to play?
Freemium, because like technically you can buy certain stuff like microtransactions, like more Pokeballs, more all this. Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it a freemium game. So they won't pay like gas to play a premium game that doesn't work all the time, and they have to take time out of their day just to go to the city to play the game and do their, daily chores or whatever.
I mean, especially nowadays where like people, we have like $3 for gas or whatever in my city, which is not, apparently it's not a lot, but in Texas they made it a thing where gas is really cheap, so having it be $3 is like a lot for us, even though usually it might be $1.50 to $2. So $3 like nope. And also taco prices went up. Man, what's up with that? Like, that's stupid. I'm not going anywhere if everything's going up. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Yeah. And because it kind of lost me, because from where I live, it's just I just didn't have because I was used to playing like regular Pokemon and like having to keep catching the same Pokemon over and over and over just to up its level. That's where it kind of lost me. Yeah. And then like it only had 2 attacks to use, so you actually had to look at each Pokemon, seeing what attacks it had, seeing if their attacks were any good or not, and then going to to the gym areas and battling other people to to take them over and all that other shit. But I mean, people like it, but that's it for the Pokemon side.
We got one last piece of news, I guess, and then we'll go into just talk about games. The last piece, of course, that 2K18 Run the Neighborhood trailer that came out. You saw it, right?
Yeah, I saw it. It was on my feed. But I was like, what the hell is Run the Neighborhood? Because I usually just check the previews and just the videos to see what they had. But when they said Run the Neighborhood, I was like, it looks like GTA, and I said the comments. So you just got GTA NBA, where now instead of it was, I think, what is it, like you could make your own like court area, a hub world, your own court area to play against people.
There's a lot of, like, if you love like NBA 2K, there's a lot of cool stuff to go on about it, like for my park and all that. Like, you could walk around, go into stores like GTA, like go get new kicks, go get haircuts. There's gonna be mini challenges for the day, and you can hop into the courts to do it all. It doesn't help for the fact that in NBA 2K17, guess how long it took me to actually load up my park? Maybe
because I think it was people were saying like it was like horrible at one point.
At one point, I think it took me close to 30 minutes. I was like, "Son, what is happening? I just want to play a little bit real quick." And
damn.
It's one of those things where people make fun of 2K for with NBA is that their servers are just trash, and servers are good in the very beginning, and then they end up just becoming trash because of all the patches and stuff like that. So here's hoping that they've fixed or realized what they did wrong, and even though it's 2K and usually they don't know what they did wrong, but here's hoping they realize it and make sure it doesn't necessarily lag as much, because if it is GTA 2K, for those of us that play GTA 5 online, sometimes like it takes a while to load up because of everything you have to load up.
That's why for those who did get the pre-order and who are anxious to play it, I would suggest to wait until if you want to go into my neighborhood, wait until the day after.
Yeah.
Because if people are trying to log into the servers to go to that mode, just look around and see what they can do and all that, you're not gonna have a good time. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I would recommend for those of you who are getting it, because if you pre-order it, you get it like 4 days before or whatever.
Yeah.
So like on a Friday, so that's what I'm getting it, and I'm probably not gonna step into the neighborhood for like till Sunday or Monday, because I'm just gonna like either grind on my career or play my team and all that. So it's I would definitely not recommend it, because I remember the first time I opened up GTA 5 online, like to play. I think it was the first day, and I remember it legit took me almost 2 hours to even get into the tutorial for online to be able to play online.
Yeah, when you're like almost done with the tutorial, it kick you back out as you start the tutorial back over.
Yeah. That happened to a lot of people. Good thing it didn't happen to me. It just took me forever to load up the tutorial, so that was like a thing. But one thing I saw some people notice though was because of course NBA Live, like EA's coming back to try to bring up NBA Live and all that. And what Live did this year was that they actually brought out and paid for creators and personalities to come out and actually gave them good stuff, right? And then people realize like, oh, hey, people are going to like your game if you're nicer to them. So, because 2K really didn't care a lot about the creators, and now 2K did what Run the Neighborhood was they brought out all the influencers to New York, and they did these little games, gave them shoes. So now people are going to be talking good about 2K because, of course, you gave them incentives.
And I'm not sure. Is it NBA? Oh, is it NBA or is it 2K that had the TNT crew come up on there?
2K had the TNT come up with, I think, just Shaq, Kenny.
Well, I know. I think the only reason Charles didn't want to go on to 2K was because I think it's they're having a tough time trying to meet his demands, because he wants. I think they're only getting paid $1 million to do it, but Charles wants all of the money that he would get in his check to go to the NBA players' tire refund, but for some reason it's hard to do it because they would have to pay him directly, but he doesn't want to deal with that. So that's the reason why Chuck's not mocapping for it, because they said it was fun. And this time they got some extra ones. I think it was Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett are going to be on for commentary on certain games.
Look, man, I'm excited. Like, I know people usually say, oh, the sports games are kind of just same old. No, they actually do a lot of, like, especially this year, You know, Madden had Long Shot, which is their kind of telltale NFL type of game, football type of game, and then they have it's a more fluid with the Frostbite system. 2K, the neighborhood, there's new modes and all that. I mean,
they're trying because now that the sports games are actually trying to tell a story with your OC character now. Which sometimes it's pretty cool if they can get it down correct and have like multiple interactions with some of the NPCs in your character.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see this because I'm going to be playing the Prelude. The Prelude comes out this Friday, September 8th, and of course that's how you start up your own creator character, and then you get coins from there, and you can start it off early. I'm pretty sure because last year it was the same thing where even if you don't download the Prelude, which is a week before, you still have to do the quote unquote Prelude to do my career. So just download it early, to get it out of the way. But I'm excited to see my neighborhood stuff, GTA 2K basically, or GTA NBA. That's an awesome idea. People love that for some reason. People love the more realistic a game gets. I don't necessarily know why, but people love the more realistic a game gets.
Yeah, I think it's just because now you have it actually looks like a neighborhood that you'd see if in the actual cities where you'd have the courts from the neighborhood in the park, and then down the street would probably be like the barbershop and some one of the clothing stores that you'd get your sports gear from, and then further down would be where you like a Foot Locker or something where you can get new kicks for either working out or just going strolling around town.
There's even a thing where you get a bike. It's like
I know.
Just bike around like it's crazy.
I heard people were wondering like how and when you unlock the bike because because they're wondering how fast is the foot speed if you can unlock the bike, because if foot speed's really fucking slow, then they're gonna wonder what level that you have to be at to buy a bike so you can fast travel from place to place.
I think the cool thing is that apparently you're gonna be able, like when you're going let's say you're gonna go get a haircut for your player, right? Like you can actually meet, sometimes depending on the day of the week or the time, you can meet players in there, and it'll be like a special type of thing. Maybe they'll give you a boost for the day or whatnot. So I think that's cool.
I thought they had they could get some actual barbers and comedians to play as barbers and that'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. There's also, they added in a new thing where it's like the road to 99. So whoever, you have to keep grinding to get to 99. Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where you can't even pay for it. Legit, everybody grinds the same way. So it's almost taking the microtransactions out of it. So it's like everybody's got to grind to the 99, even people who usually would have paid to close to 99 and stuff like that. But I'm excited, man. This is going to be cool. And one thing I always don't like is when people say, oh, it's a sports game, why don't you can go play it outside. I can't be LeBron outside, you know what I mean? I can't be Kevin Durant, I can't be Tom Brady.
It's just
I'm 5'7".
Yeah, I know. It's just some people complain. I think was it 2K. Sometimes they have a horrible release. I guess.
Oh, for sure. That's another thing why we hate about 2K.
Yeah, is that they have a horrible release gauge and why. And I think I was looking at comments and they were saying I think it was it 14 or 15 that had the best one out of all of them. I think
it might have been 15. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, but there was that.
So, and before we kind of go on to talk about the games, apparently amiibos are going to be available for this.
Oh,
so, when you play it on the Switch, that's crazy.
Yeah, for the Switch, but people are already, I've seen people there already making fun of it, saying, how downgraded is this going to be?
It actually, for being what it is, the Switch, what you can play on that, it runs pretty fluid, apparently, from what I've seen of people playing it.
Then people, I think also some people were making fun of it. It's all great. We're going to be getting some LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry amiibos. Bet you anything.
No, but the sucky thing about the amiibo stuff is that, sucky thing for us, but it could be a good thing for Nintendo. I think they create the amiibo, is the fact that it's sports and players change teams. Kyrie, who was a Cleveland Cavalier and the cover star, he's now a Boston Celtics. So they I think they're not switching the covers, but technically that cover's not real anymore because he's not a Cavalier.
I think they're gonna go around the route where it's gonna be him in his Cleveland gear. But if you want to change, they will have an option for you online. So if you want to print out the secondary copy of the cover, then you can, because I know certain certain like Madden year games did that too, where that cover person changed team, and they offered the new version of it online, so you could print it out if you wanted to.
I mean, it's basically a change of skins, right? It's like another skin.
Yeah.
Like, Mario, there's like all these different like Mario skins, like it'd be the same thing. There's just different team skins and stuff like that.
It was also kind of funny when people were like, when the trade was going down, and Cleveland wanted more, and they're saying, "Oh, look at that! 2K just gave him a new new renders for his gear, and now the trade won't even go, potentially wouldn't go through at the time." And they made a new trailer for him in his Celtic gear.
Funny.
So it's like now they're gonna have to cut that down and then bring it back up at him in his Cleveland gear.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny thing to do, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the news, right?
For most parts, like during the summer, there's really not that much going on.
I mean, we made this last for pretty long. I don't necessarily.
Usually doesn't last about close to an hour. It's usually like 30 to 45 minutes.
Hey, I mean, why not? I think people love when it's a little bit longer, but usually I think, as you said, we go around and say what you've been playing, right?
Yeah, we've been playing anything. Yeah,
Justin? Me
recently, just occasionally playing some Overwatch. I found a use for one of my gift cards that I had in my wallet for the longest time because I kept forgetting, and like Mitch was getting on me saying, "Why the fuck you keep having those gift cards? They're meant to be spent." It's like I forget most of the time, and I just end up using my regular card. But I actually found a good deal for Soul Silver, bought that, and
nice.
still trying to figure out. Yeah, still trying to figure out what else to buy with it. But other than that, I've been packing. And I've been playing just some demos on PlayStation. While I bought, I bought the Destiny 2 pre-order, so it's preloaded, so I only have to wait till like 9 p.m. to play it.
I'm excited. I got mine pre-ordered.
Yeah, I know.
But mine's physical, so it's like I have to go pick it up.
I know Mish is too, but he's being really fucking slow because he moved everything to PlayStation because he wanted the rewards for being a Destiny 1 player. So he doesn't want to take his time. He's taking his time because he still has to go through Taken King. The rest of Taken King and the last one.
But nothing really transfers besides how your person looks, right? So
it's that, and I think you get some banners, and something else happens during the initial opening of the game. From what they said, training player, based on a new player that's just starting out with a fresh file.
It's like, I'm good. I'm not gonna go back and play Destiny again and finish it or whatever, all that. But I'm excited because I think I'm gonna stay a hunter this time. Which one are you thinking of going towards?
Well,
what were you last time?
I was a warlock, but I ended up playing all three classes because for raid purposes, not everyone wants to be a certain class, so. Whenever I was in some random raid, they would just tell me just run all three so you can switch on the fly. If someone emphatically states, "No, I'm a Titan. I always want to be a Titan. I'm the best Titan here." So if I'm a Titan at the time, okay, whatever, I'll switch. What do you need a warlock or a hunter? I could be whatever one you want. And yeah, so I usually run all three, but I am probably gonna start out with the warlocks. I want to try out the Dawn Blade skill set because I did play the beta, but it was kind of hard because everyone wanted to play it, even the people who did not play the first Destiny, and they were kind of bad because how they made strikes now, they're in tiers, so they're kind of more raid-like to get people ready to play the raids where you have objectives to do and bosses have phases to play. So they'll be in sections. You shave out the first section of a boss's health, get ready for the next phase on what to do. And it kind of got me frustrated because new players didn't know what to do or to work together for the most part. It's like they were playing Destiny for the first time and they would go off on their own and die, and then I would have to go over and try and revive them, and then I'd die, and then we'd have to restart the whole encounter over again multiple times until we all get it, or people leave and people come in who actually know what they're doing will play. But that's what I'm just waiting for. I know Mitch kept bugging me saying, you guys better be on to raid and shit.
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm excited to play. But like I think I'm just sticking Hunter. Like really, like I don't know. There's something about it where I like choosing the Hunter out of the Titans of Warlock, and I'm like, I'm fine with it. I forgot what was the power of the Hunter this time around.
The Hunter has a new one, but I can't remember. It's with the bow staff, but it's I think it's arc based though. The Titan has a new skill set for being I think it was, there's Arc, Solar, and I can't remember the purple one for the life of me, but it's basically what people were saying is that you can basically be Captain America because you get a shield and you basically ricochet off of stuff.
I remember that. I mean, I'm just excited. Hopefully, like the story's better, like because all around Destiny 1 was fun, but like Destiny 2 seems like it's gonna be.
If you look at the trailers and stuff, they made it more story based, so it's more you have a lot more cutscenes this time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I've just kind of been playing Madden. I've been grinding on that. I have a 80 overall team. I mean, one thing I love Longshot like that. When I finished that, I loved it. It was one of the best sports movies we've had in such a long time because it really felt like a movie. I mean, Creed was really great as well. That's amazing. But like besides Creed, I think Longshot for Madden has really just been one of the best sports football movies we've had in such a long time. And
it's weird how sports games now are trying to make it like a movie because I know FIFA had something similar like that, and people were wondering, scratching their head at the time, like, what the hell is going on? It's an actual like story movie where your character starts from the bottom and goes to the top.
Yeah, it was called The Journey, right? And
I think
and now it kind of like on FIFA 18 because it started on FIFA 17. And, you do your like going to like you start off as like a kid and you go through the like a movie type of thing, The Journey, and then the transfer will go over to the FIFA 18. So like you start off where you ended up there. But the thing is like it's just fun, man. Like it's just it's your choices. You get to play here and then, but you're basically watching the movie. And I loved it just because it reminded me a lot of Friday Night Lights, and I love Friday Night Lights. And it had the guy Scott Porter from Friday Night Lights, so I was like, that's awesome. And it had another guy from another show I really like. So overall, I loved Longshot. It was very sappy. That's a sports movie, man. That was really cool. And at the very end, like you get drafted, and then everybody has a different ending. So that's what's cool as well. It's one of those like a telltale type thing where everybody kind of has a different ending in a sense. So like I can't wait to next year where it's gonna pick up, and then wherever you got drafted to, that's where you start, and you're probably gonna have like this big old thing because with your friends and family. It was pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed it, and just grinding a lot of Madden just because that's the game to play right now, and of course Destiny's next. I'm gonna play some 2K this Friday with the prelude, but don't think I'm playing anything else.
Yeah, do you have anything else to say that we have? Do we even have anything? Like, is there anything?
No, I mean I'm just excited to play Destiny in a couple days, and then the prelude for 2K on Friday. See how 2K is, and hopefully, hopefully they could get because last year what sucked was. The face scan for 2K didn't really work out well for me. NBA Live did.
I remember people posting on Twitter what the hell the face scan did to the character.
Hopefully 2K18 is better. NBA Live 18 really did good with the face scan. Like even though I always said like it doesn't look like me, but Mitch would say it really does look like you. But at least it worked as opposed to 2K17. So I'm hoping 2K18's face scan works and doesn't take me an hour to like say it doesn't work. Like, it take me forever to like just basically tell me it doesn't work. So, yeah.
I guess that you should be wrapping the show up.
Exactly.
I have nothing else to say. Just like before, you want to get at us to talk about random stuff, gaming, comics, whatever, you can get us up on Twitter. Mine is at Control Breakers, and Joe is at Halftime Joe. Mm-hmm. If you just want to talk or have any questions,
hit us up. Discord too, we're there as well. You got to look at the pinned stuff on Twitter and Facebook though. So yeah.
Do you have any last words?
No, I just check you later. Like, I don't know what you say for.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time then.